Today we're going to once again review the three-part breathing. We're going to throw in some leg variations, and we're also going to address some questions that we had from the last class, plus some things I noticed when I watched the video. And then we'll once again work on the child's pose and downward dog. Alright, so if we're ready to begin, we'll turn our sides, grab behind your knees, and roll back one vertebrae at a time. And we'll start off with our warm-up. Bring our legs up, feet and knees together. Clasp behind your knees. Let your feet come down and we'll start doing some pulsing. Alright, so one of the things we're going to talk about is elbow engagement. So even in this one, imagine that you're pulling your elbows away from your body. Get some strength in there. We'll start going side to side. And letting that go into nice circles. Coming back to center, bring your feet up again, switch your grip, left hand on top, bring your feet down and start doing circles the opposite direction. We got it going side to side. And then finishing with a few pulses. Alright, let our feet up, release our hands, I'll come down to our side and slowly bring our knees down, our feet down to the floor. And then we'll do a little bit of the arch and imprint in the hips. Opening up, loosening the hips, so arch our back up. Imprint, push your whole back into the floor. Arch, imprint, arch, imprint, arch, imprint. Alright, then we're going to draw our right leg up. Once again, grab behind the knee, right hand on top. Bring your elbows to up and engage them, pulling them away. And then slowly, if you have range, let your left foot slide away. You can take a big breath into your belly, pushing your belly into your thigh. One more big breath. Alright, we're going to draw that left foot back, left leg back in, so you have a 90-degree angle. And then we're going to do a shin lift on this side, rotate, and bring that foot across for a figure four. Now in this position we can do, once again, a couple of imprints and arch.
Can you talk about where the ankle should be?
Oh, right. The ankle
cross
should
leg?
be just past the leg and just below the knee. So Rachel, you want your ankle to go out past your leg just a little bit so that your ankle is just touching the outside of your leg or knee there. Alright, then we can do a couple more arch, imprint, and once again, if we have the range, we can bring in that left leg and grab behind it, get a good stretch.
Left hand on top?
Left hand on top. to also work on our ankle, loosening up the ankle. So on the right side, we'll start just flex and point back and forth. Point and flex. Now we start going into some big circles. Circles back the other way. Alright, then bring the foot back to center. I'm going to flex the foot back towards the knee. You're going to curl the toes. Go point the foot. Flip the toes. And bring it back. Flex it back towards you. So curl, point, flip, flex. One more time. Curl the toes, point, flip the toes, flex it back to us. So one of the things that I noticed last week, even for myself, was maintaining engagement with the feet when we're doing some of these warm-ups. So one of the things we like to do is, we'll just go through it again. Curl, point, and then flip the toes. If you can just imagine that you keep that kind of Barbie foot, that is a good engagement, protects the knees as we're going through these foot exercises. Alright, now we can bring the left foot back down to the ground. Bring your knee in and release the right leg. We'll switch sides. So bring your left foot up. Bring your hands behind, left hand on top. Pull in. Let the right leg go out. Oh, we're not doing figure 4 yet.
Oh,
Right.
sorry.
Once again, engage the elbows, draw the leg in, 3 big breaths, belly into the thigh. Can you get that foot engagement on both feet that we were just describing?
I like Barbie foot.
Barbie foot on both sides. So everybody take a look at the right foot. As your foot's rolling out to the side like that, you want to roll that whole leg, turning in the hips so that the foot is pointing straight up to the ceiling. Alright, now we're going to draw the right leg in, release the left leg, cross it over, and then pull that right leg towards us, hands in behind the knee, left hand on top of right. And then we'll do the foot exercise on this side, flex and point, flex and point. And remember to engage your right foot as well. Flex, point, flex, point. And we start doing some circles. Circles the other way. Alright, now bring your foot back to center. We're going to do the other one. So we're going to start, flex your foot towards you, curl the toes, point, flip, flex your toes back, curl the toes, point, flip, pull it back to you one more time, curl the toes, point, flip, draw it back. Alright, now we're going to let the right foot come back down, release that left leg, bring it up. Right, so we're going to once again start working on the three-part breathing, but today we're going to throw in some leg variations. So the first one is creeper. So bring your feet and your knees together and arms out, relax, and now just let your knees go wide. Do that a couple of times. You want to keep your big toe joint on the floor. So that should be kind of give you an idea of the range of motion. Bring your knees out until your big toe joints start to come up. Alright, once we've done that a couple times, just let your knees go to their widest point where you can keep your toes down. And we'll start with the belly breath. So if you want to bring one or both hands on your belly. And just start exhale, and start taking a couple of big breaths, pushing your belly all the way out. Try to remember that we want to do neutral rotation of the hips, neither jamming our back into an imprint or arching our ribs up. And we'll start the count. 1 in. 1 out. 2 in. 2 out. 3 in. 3 out. 4 in. 4 out. 5 in. Remembering our cues, imprint or arch of the low back, big toe joint still down. 6 in. 6 out. 7 in. 7 out. 8 in. 8 out. 9 in. 9 out. Last one, 10 in. 10 out. Alright, using your hands, you can gently bring your knees back up, walk your feet out to hip distance, and just let your arms go, take a couple natural breaths. Alright, so the second part we're going to do is breathing into the ribs. But first we're going to establish another leg position. So you want to walk your feet out to about the width of your mat. And you feel like you have your toes slightly pigeon-toed. And then bring your knees together. It's called snowplow. Now if you can't bring your knees together, walk your feet in a little bit closer. The second part of the breathing is going to be the breath into the ribs. So to facilitate breathing into the ribs, we're going to engage the belly lock. So that's drawing your stomach up in, and then feel like you can pull your stomach up underneath your ribs, and that you can pull your belly button down to your pelvis. So it can help to even just bring your hands up and feel those areas. Putting one hand on your stomach, the other one just below your belly button, and imagine that you're pulling those two parts together. All right, big exhale. And we'll start the count. 1 in. 1 out. 2 in. 2 out. 3 in. 3 out. 4 in. 4 out. 5 in. Check in for your imprint or your arch in your hips. Are your knees still together? 6 in. 6 out. 7 in. Can you feel your breath coming into your back ribs as well as your front ribs? 8 in. 8 out. 9 in. 9 out. 10 in. 10 out. Alright, let your knees go wide, walk your feet back into hip width, let your hands go, and just take a natural, relaxed breath. Okay, so for the third round of breathing, we're going to be breathing up into our chest, and we're going to have our legs in cobbler position. So we'll do the leg position first. Walk your feet and knees together. And now we're going to let our feet clap together as our knees go wide. And like we were doing in the previous pose with brains. Can't even think of a word, not cobbler. Anyway, imagine that you're squeezing your big toe mounds together like we were doing in the previous pose.
Creeper.
Creeper. Haha, brain freeze. Thank you, Kat. Alright. Breath. So if we want to this time, remember check our arch or imprint. Try to find a nice neutral spine. And we bring our hands up to our chest so we really feel that breath coming in.
Are we supposed to let our knees totally fall, like totally relaxed, or are we engaging, like holding them up a bit?
No, we can just totally let them relax and try to get a bit of the engagement by pushing the big toes together.
Okay.
Big toe mounts. Now, we'll first exhale, engage the belly lock. And then we'll imagine that we're pulling those ribs tight by pulling the front ribs down to the pelvis. And then start bringing the breath up into the chest. You feel the expansion into the collarbone, into the shoulders. now we'll start the count. Exhale. 1 in. 1 out. 2 in. 2 out. 3 in. 3 out. 4 in. 4 out. 5 in. 5 out. 6 in. Check with your engagements. Big toes, neutral spine, belly lock, ribs knitting down to the pelvis. 7 in. 7 out. 8 in. 8 out. 9 in. 9 out. 10 in. Last one. 10 out. Alright, and let your hands go and use them to gently draw your knees up. Let your feet and your knees come hip width apart. Let your arms relax and take a couple of natural breaths. Alright, so for the last set here, we're going to be doing the full breath, belly, ribs, and chest. A big expansion. And you can just choose to do whatever leg variation you felt was most beneficial for you. So you can go ahead and get your legs set up as you please. Alright, and then we'll start with our big belly breath all the way from our pelvis up to our collarbone. 1 in. 1 out. 2 in. 2 out. 3 in. 3 out. 4 in. 4 out. 5 in. Check in. Are your legs engaged? Neutral spine. 5 out. 6 in. 6 out. 7 in. 7 out. 8 in. 8 out. And you can do the last 2 breath counts on your own. Alright, and when you feel like your breathing is complete, you can just roll up to the side and come into a nice cross-legged sitting position.
My back hurts.
Oh.
It's my rib cage hurts. It's the heart attacks. For some reason, my rib cage hurts when I lay down.
Right, how do you find the breathing into the ribs?
That's fine. It's just back here. Yeah, it's weird. It's almost 9 years.
Alright. Okay, so last week we were going over arm engagement for even in the child's pose, but ultimately how to work that arm engagement in downward dog. So one of the questions was, how do we engage our elbows? So I had a little time to think about that, and I think a good trick that I came up with, or that I realized, is we'll just bring your hands down on the floor in front of you. Remember, get the index finger pointing straight forward. Make sure to get that knuckle joint down. And one of the things, can you hyperextend your elbows? Can you pull your sleeves up so maybe people can see a little bit?
I'm very hyperextendy.
Yeah. So that's what we don't want to do. And that's the question. So what we want to do is rotate your arm so that your elbow isn't coming into making a nice, if you imagine a nice triangle, and then push your elbows back into your knees a little bit so you get the idea. You might have to come, it might not work for you. Bring your knees up a little bit. So you're pushing your elbows in, so it gives you an idea that you want to engage your elbows without pushing them out this way or hyperextending them that way. Does that make sense?
Sort of.
Sort of. So, can you hyper? Like, actually, showing you, like, rotate it, so it's actually
I can do that.
So, what you want to do from there is rotate it, and then not so that it's parallel, but so that you imagine this is kind of a 45 between the triangle, and then push back a little bit to engage the
It's
elbows.
almost like I'm pulling my hands apart on the floor.
Yeah.
Sort of similar action.
Mm. Okay.
Alright, so we'll try to remember that elbow engagement as we start going into these next poses. Okay, we'll come up onto our knees, or onto all fours, I mean. We start with our toes tucked. Remember the engagements that we were just talking about with the index finger, knuckle, elbows. And we'll do a couple cat-cow. So, exhale, arch up. Inhale, belly hang. One more, and then we'll come to neutral back, neutral rotation in the hips. then we're going to work on what we call puppy pose. So this is a precursor to our dog, so just come back onto your heels, keeping your toes tucked. Engage your arms, your shoulders. Work on your toe engagement. And then from here, see if you can just push your hips straight up into a down dog. Are you keeping the engagement in your elbows, in your shoulders? Alright, and can you bring your shoulders down and your hips up?
No, shoulders down and hips up.
Alright, looking good everybody. Then we can come down. Let your knees go wide, toes together, rest coming into a child's pose. And once again, try to make it a bit more of an active child's pose as you're going into it. Really push with your hands to get that engagement into the hands and elbows. And here we're going to do 3 big belly breaths, remembering that we're actually kind of working at putting a little bit of a arch into our back. Alright, after those breaths are complete, go ahead, come back up onto all fours. Bring your knees in. Once again, we'll tuck our toes, work on that puppy pose. So finding all the engagements in the arm, elbows, shoulders. Just push back onto our heels, stretching our feet. Alright, so this time before we go up, let's find the engagement in our bellies, a little bit of arch into the back, and then bring it up into a dog pose. Alright, one more big breath, and then we'll come back down. Coming back into child's pose for a rest. Alright, one of the things we talked about last week was imagine that you're pressing the tops of your feet into the floor as you're doing the child's pose. Remember to engage your back so you have a slight sensation of the arch. Engaging the hands, elbows, shoulders. back up onto all fours. Do one more round to down dog. Tuck your toes. Push them back into the puppy pose. And bring those hips straight up. Finger, knuckle joint, index finger, knuckle joint down. Elbows, shoulders. All right, good. Then bring it back down and we'll go back into the rest pose. Knees wide as we come back down into child's pose. That's complete. Just coming back to sit on our knees again.
I have a question.
Yes.
In that pose, should my head actually be like resting on the floor or just sort of touching the floor? Am I supporting my head?
No, you want your head to rest on the floor.
Totally resting, not just touching.
Right, because that sends signals to your parasympathetic nerve system to relax. So if your head's up and you're engaging, then that you can lose that. So that's one of the tricks. I did have the blocks or a pillow or anything, whatever you need to just bring your head down.
I can. I was just wondering, should I be engaging those muscles or because.
Yeah, it's a good question.
All right. All right, we're going to go over one other little thing with the hands. So when we're engaging, and this is good practice to really work at engaging those hands down. So you bring them out. Let's get in front, and we're just sitting on, and then if you can imagine that you're pulling your fingertips back towards you while keeping your entire palm on the ground. And relax. Pull that back in a couple of times. So this is also good to help with the hand engagement to work at keeping those knuckles down and strengthen our fingers. Alright, so we could have done that one beforehand, but something to keep in mind when doing the downward dog poses, child's pose, any of those things. Good thing to just get a little flex in there to get that engagement.
But you're not actually supposed to lift your knuckles off the ground.
Not when we're doing the pose. Once again, but you imagine that you're engaging those muscles when you do it. It's kind of like when we're doing this, we pull our feet up, right? And to kind of get that movement, but when you're actually doing the child's pose, you engage those muscles, but you don't actually lift your ankles. Same type of idea, right? Just kind of get an idea of how to engage those muscles, And then when we do it, we engage them without the big movement. Alright, so now we're going to go on to the second part of the breathing, which is the rhythmic breath. Something to work on if you're doing it at home is, can you time your breathing with your pulse? It's kind of tricky, but if you can do it, apparently it is really good for anxiety and calming and stuff like that. So, right, everybody's checking their pulse.
Well, when you say time your breathing to your pulse,
So,
Where are you supposed to feel it? Because I sometimes feel it, like, you know, I feel blood pumping
Bing,
up here,
here.
or sometimes I feel it, you know,
yeah, I think for most,
elsewhere,
yeah, wherever you
feet,
think you feel it easiest, right? So, and then remember we're doing so it's the 6 in, 3 hold, 6 out, 3 hold. If you can actually do the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, hold, 2, 3. If you can get that, it's tricky, but if you actually get that count
Great
on your
exercise,
pulse.
too.
Yeah, it's a big exercise all the way around to concentrate on that, but something to try to work on if you're got some home practice going. But anyway, we'll come around back onto our backs. Grab behind your knees, and let your spine come down slowly. Just take a couple breaths, relax. Once again, if you want to take a leg position, that's good for you. If not, just easy hips and knees. Set up. Alright, big exhale, we'll start the count.
Which breath are we doing right now?
Rhythmic breathing. That'll be 6 in, 3 hold, 6 out, 3
Okay.
hold.
Okay.
with the 3-part yoga breath.
No, just taking you don't have to do a complete full breath on this one, but
Just the
more
general big inhale.
just a gentle breathing to keep, but also keeping on track with the rhythm.
Okay.
All right, exhale. In 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hold. 2, 3. Out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hold. 2, 3. In. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hold. 2, 3. Out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hold. 2, 3. In. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hold. 2, 3. Out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hold. 2, 3. In. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hold. 2, 3. Out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hold. 2, 3. In. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hold. 2, 3. Out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hold. 2, 3. In. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hold. 2, 3. Out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, out. Hold. 2, 3. Last round. In. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hold. 2, 3. 2, 3. And relax, take a couple of normal breaths. Alright, and we'll roll off to the side. Bring yourselves up. Alright, I think today we have enough room, we can do some legs up the wall, which is everybody's favorite. So I'm going to squeeze in over here.
What's legs up the wall?
We'll show you here. Everybody just get your, we can get your mat. Oh yeah, Rachel, you got a spot there? Yeah. We can get some mats in going this way.
Are you going there or?
You can go, yeah, you can come here. I'll go there so I can show up on the camera. Well, you can go right
So in front of the mirror's okay?
Yeah, you can use the mirror, that's great. Alright, so to get into the pose, I want to sit sideways to the wall. And then you can lay back and bring your legs up.
Keep your feet touching the wall?
It
Or there's a
depends.
little gap?
You can have a gap. Most of us will probably want to have a little bit of a gap. Once again, you want to remember we don't want to be imprinting super strong or arching super strong, but finding a nice neutral pelvis.
And what is the purpose of this? I've never seen this.
So one where it is an inversion, so that a lot of your body is above your heart, so it makes it much easier for your blood to move through your legs.
Okay.
It's a nice stretch, and then we'll throw in some of the ankle work and leg work again like we were doing before.
Okay.
It's really good for headaches.
Good for
Oh.
Alright, so everybody got a comfortable position where you're not jamming your back into the ground or arching too strong. And we'll start off with some of the flex and point of the feet again. Alright, then going into some circles. Going circles the other way. Alright, then bringing it back to center. We'll start. Flex your feet towards you, curl your toes, point your feet, flip your toes back towards you, and then bring it back into the flex. Curl the toes, point, flip it back, flex, last time, curl the toes, point, flip, bring it back. Alright, so now we're also going to do a little figure 4 in this position. So once again, if you remember to engage your Barbie feet, and then bring your right foot down the wall, cross it over your left knee with the ankle just outside of the leg. And then just using the wall, draw your left foot down so you get a nice stretch in that hip. Once again, don't want to jam your back into the ground in an imprint, so if you find you're really imprinting, just let off a bit with your left foot and bring it back up. big belly breaths before we switch sides. Exhale. All right, last breath. All right, slowly slide the left leg up, back up the wall. You can bring your hand to the outside of your right knee to bring it back to center. Bring it back up. Remember your Barbie feet. And then bring the left leg down, cross it over. Then draw the right foot down once again, just far enough that you're not jamming your back into the ground. Do you notice that one side is tighter than the other?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, my left side is definitely tighter. All right, well, once again, take 3 big breaths. Exhale. All right, last breath. All right, and then let your right leg come back up. Bring your left hand onto your knee to support it. Let's bring your left leg up. Alright, so from legs up the wall here, we'll go right into Shavasana. So with minimal disturbance, try to keep your head low on the ground and just wiggle yourself back on your mat. Oh, I can't do that. As we come into Shavasana. Alright, so now starting to wake ourselves up, wiggle our fingers, wiggle our toes, take a couple deeper breaths. Draw your arms up overhead, let them gently drop back down, and roll off to one side, pushing ourselves up. Come into a comfortable seated position. Alright, so this week we continued on with the three-part breathing. We introduced some leg work. Next week we'll continue with the three-part breathing and some leg work, as well as some nice shoulder opening movements. We'll start introducing as well. Alright, so we'll finish with a group Om, and alright, so bring your hands up into Namaskar. Big breath in. Thank you for joining me again this week. Gratitude to everyone who's taught me to bring me here. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tara.